Cold wind rolled across the parade ground, sharp enough to cut through the layers of uniforms standing in formation. The sky above the naval base was a flat sheet of gray, heavy with the threat of rain, the kind that always came on inspection days. Rows of sailors stood at attention, boots aligned perfectly, shoulders squared, not a breath out of place. And at the far end of the long asphalt stretch, a black SUV slowed to a stop. Out stepped Admiral Rowan Hale. His reputation arrived before he did. 40 years of service, steel in his spine, a mind that had planned operations across 3 oceans, and a voice that had once steadied men in the darkest hours of war. Admirals were respected. Hale was feared. His presence made the officers nearest him instinctively stand even straighter, their eyes flicking away from him as though direct eye contact alone might summon an inspection. But today, Rowan wasn't here for a standard review, or another speech about duty. He was here because a report had crossed his desk at 2 in the morning. A report about an incident involving a civilian contractor on the base. A single dad. A veteran. A man who had intervened when a training exercise went sideways, saving 2 junior sailors from a catastrophic equipment failure. Not a minor event. Definitely not something that happened every day. The report called the man James Ward, but the Admiral had seen something else in that document, something that made the blood drain from his face. A call sign he had not heard in a decade. Ghost 5. It couldn't be. A Ghost 5 was dead. Or retired. Or buried under layers of classified seals and missions that never made the news. But the report mentioned reflexes too sharp, instincts too honed, and tactical decisions made within seconds that no ordinary veteran, no ordinary man, should still possess. So Admiral Hale had gotten in his SUV at dawn, because if Ghost 5 was alive, then past shadows were stirring again. He stepped forward, hands clasped behind his back, the weight of his metals shifting gently with each stride. Officers trailed behind him, whispering updates, schedules, and protocols, but he waved them off. He wanted to see the man himself. Observe him. Confirm the impossible with his own eyes. The maintenance bay smelled of metal, oil, and the faint tang of ozone. A handful of workers stood around, confusion on their faces, as one man finished tightening a large hydraulic valve. He wore standard contractor coveralls, sleeves rolled up, revealing arms lined with faint scars and old burns. His posture was relaxed, too relaxed for a military environment, but something about the way he stood, centered, aware, still, sent a ripple of recognition through the Admiral's memory. James Ward lifted his head, and for the briefest second, Admiral Hale forgot to breathe. Those eyes. Cold under pressure. Sharp. Calculating. He had seen eyes like that on a different continent, under a different sky, a lifetime ago. He had seen them through night vision as the man moved through a burning compound, saving lives one silent, lethal step at a time. Ghost 5 had been a myth even within the Black Ops community. The kind of operator whose missions were so buried, only 6 people ever knew the whole truth. A man shaped from the ash of too many fallen comrades, forged into something lethal and brutally precise. A man known for showing up where he wasn't supposed to be, doing the impossible, and disappearing before the dust settled. But Ghost 5 had vanished. No, he had retired, or so they were told, and yet here he was working as a contractor. A wrench in his hand. A small girl sitting on an overturned crate behind him, swinging her legs. She looked about 7, maybe 8, with messy dark curls tied into a crooked ponytail. She was drawing on a scrap of cardboard using a red marker, completely unbothered by the officers suddenly filling the room. James noticed the Admiral's approach before anyone else did. His hands stilled. His entire body stilled, the kind of stillness that came from training, from anticipating threats before they took shape. Not fear. Not reverence, recognition. Mr. Ward, Admiral Hale said, stopping 3 steps away. You caused quite a stir yesterday. James straightened slowly, wiped his hands on a rag, and looked the Admiral in the eye. No salute, he wasn't military anymore, but he carried himself with the leftover discipline of a man who used to be. Wasn't trying to cause anything, he said. His voice was level, calm. Just didn't want anyone getting hurt. Your instincts were impressive. The Admiral watched him carefully. Almost too impressive for someone who hasn't served in years. James didn't flinch, but there was a flicker. A tiny ripple of guarded tension. What are you getting at, sir? There was a long pause. Silence stretched thin, watched by the workers who didn't understand the sudden heaviness in the air. The Admiral took 1 step closer. Your service record, Rowan said quietly, is incomplete. James didn't respond. And your discharge file, the Admiral continued, contains redactions I haven't seen since my time working with Task Force Orion. The room went still, even the air seemed to tighten. Behind James, his daughter lifted her head, blinking curiously at the sudden silence, and then, the Admiral saw it, just a flicker. A heartbeat. A flash of ghosts passing behind James's eyes, memories neither man wanted resurfacing. Rowan had confirmation now, but he needed to hear it spoken, needed the last missing piece. He lowered his voice, steady and cold. What was your call sign, son? James's jaw tightened, the workers exchanged confused looks, his daughter paused her drawing, and the Admiral waited. He didn't blink. Didn't breathe. James dropped the rag. It hit the concrete with a soft thud that sounded far too loud in the quiet room. Then, very softly, as if saying it pulled open a door he had sworn to keep shut forever, he answered, Ghost 5. The Admiral paled, every drop of color drained from his face. The officers behind him stiffened, suddenly understanding that something extraordinary, something dangerous, was unfolding. Rowan swallowed hard. Dear God, Ghost 5 had been the backbone, the phantom protector, the man who had completed the missions no one else survived. And the last time Rowan had heard that name, the entire world had been on the edge of a silent catastrophe. If Ghost 5 was back, if he had resurfaced, it meant one of two things: either he ran from something, or something was coming for him. James stepped slightly in front of his daughter without even thinking. A subtle move. Protective. Controlled. Automatic, that alone told the Admiral everything. You shouldn't have said that out loud, Rowan murmured. You asked, James replied quietly, because I needed to know if the rumors were true. James's voice dropped. And now that you know? The Admiral let out a long breath. Now I know we have a problem. A rustle of movement behind them made James's daughter hop off the crate. Daddy, she asked, holding up her cardboard drawing. Is that man mad at you? The tension cracked just enough for James to force a small, reassuring smile. He met her eyes. No, kiddo. He's just surprised. Rowan swallowed the lump forming in his throat. Ghost 5, the most lethal operator he had ever commanded, was a father now. A civilian trying to live quietly with a child depending on him. The realization softened something inside the Admiral that he didn't expect, but the world didn't care about quiet lives. Ghosts didn't stay buried. James, Rowan said, more gently now, does anyone else know who you are? That you're alive? Just her. He nodded toward his daughter. And she only knows I used to be a soldier. And the people who put you in the Ghost program? James's expression chilled. No one from that life has come looking for me for years. Rowan shook his head. They will now. Something flickered through James' anger, fear, maybe both, but he hit it well. I'm not going back, he said firmly, I'm not asking you to. The Admiral glanced at the officers lingering nearby. But whatever you walked away from, whatever the Ghost program left behind, it's waking up. James's fingers curled slowly into fists. This base wasn't your first choice, was it? Rowan asked. You came here because you thought you'd be safe close to military walls. James didn't deny it. When I got custody of her, he said quietly, I needed somewhere predictable. Somewhere structured. Somewhere not on anyone's radar. And you think you aren't? Rowan whispered. A heavy silence filled the room. Outside, clouds gathered thicker, darker, as though mirroring the weight of truths unburied. Finally, Rowan straightened. His voice returned to its commanding force, Ghost 5. James, whatever name you choose now, you saved 2 sailors yesterday. Again. Just like old times. His eyes hardened. And I need to know why you reacted the way you did. The report says you recognized the equipment failure before anyone else noticed. James looked away. That instinct doesn't fade, he muttered. Not really. Unless, Rowan said slowly, something or someone triggered it. James's silence spoke louder than words. The Admiral exhaled shakily. He had seen many battles, but the one standing before him now wasn't on any map. It was written behind James Ward's eyes. Tell me, Rowan said, more command than request. What did you see yesterday that the rest of us didn't? James looked at his daughter first, then he turned to the Admiral, and when he finally spoke, his voice was quiet but heavy, like a man stepping back into a war he swore he'd left behind. They weren't looking at the equipment, Admiral. His eyes hardened. They were looking at me. The Admiral's breath caught. You.